Another key development in the recent past is plethora of new regulations such as Basel III, counterparty risk, IRRBB, IFRS 9 and ILAP etc. These regulations have elements of analytics that overlap with the existing stress testing framework, and hence there is a big scope of alignment here. Examples include IFRS 9 ECL related models and scenarios could be included in credit risk stress tests. Interest rate risk stress testing could be aligned with the recent IRRBB regulations that require usage of both economic value and the earning based measures. Rigorous stress testing of key behavioral and modeling assumptions, additional scenarios on short rate shocks and twisters. Liquidity stress testing could be enhanced in line with the ILAP guidelines that involves quantitative assessment of wider spectrum of risks in addition to the Pillar 1 liquidity ratios like LCR and NSFR. In fact, all these regulations require forward-looking assessment involving forecasts of bank-specific and market-wide factors like balance sheet growth, GDP, oil price, inflation, real estate prices and others. Ideally, a bank should have a consistent view of these factors across all these regulations, at least in the base scenario. It is an increasing trend that instead of looking at all these multiple risks and regulations in silo, banks have started to adopt an integrated stress testing approach where the scenarios, data, models across the organization are largely aligned. However, it involves several challenges. Risk models and data are often scattered across multiple platforms and Excel sheets. So either they need to seamlessly talk to each other or migrate to a single model deployment engine. Moreover, the analytical frameworks like IRB, IFRS 9, IRRBB, ILAP, ICAP and stress testing are often owned by different teams across the banks. So any integration requires full transparency and seamless coordination among all relevant stakeholders. Objective, timing and horizon of these exercises often don't align. Rather, they are conflicting in nature. For example, IFRS 9 ECL allows optimistic scenarios, whereas usual stress testing requires multiple pessimistic scenarios. The assumptions related to dynamic balance sheet also add to the complexity. Risk aggregation is another big hurdle in the integration of frameworks and results. Many regulators are not comfortable with the idea of allowing diversification benefit as there is lack of data to determine inter-risk and intra-risk correlations. On one hand, the shift towards the sophisticated analytical models has resulted in enhanced risk measurement and linkages with business practices. On the other hand, all this use of complex models has brought the topic of model risk to the forefront. Model validation has now become a core requirement of entire risk analytics framework. Many large banks have started to identify model risk as material under Pillar 2 guidelines. A few regulators are even forcing to allocate capital in case of inadequate model risk management processes and controls. It is therefore important that banks review and update their existing stress testing and risk analytical frameworks, including data, models, resources, governance and tools. We at Aptivaa continually strive to enhance our frameworks in line with global regulations and best practices. We look forward to hearing back from you on this subject, the challenges faced by you, or any suggestions that you may have. Please feel free to contact us at info@aptivaa.com.